How's everybody doing this morning? This is L.A. Kendrick with another story from Logical Loquations. I'm trying to make this brief, but I finally asked my mother the question, why? It's been a question that's been on my mind for a long, long time. Finally asked her why. It's a little while back, of course, but asked her why. And because in my household growing up, all I heard was all men ain't shit. That's all I heard. So I'm going to speak to you exactly like I spoke to her. I didn't cuss at all. I don't cuss my parents, mother or the father. I don't. Very respectful of my people. And if I got to do that, I'll just stay away. I'm not going to disrespect my parents. Just think it's not going to go down like that. But my mom just had this bad thing about all men ain't shit. And she said it every day for the most part. And I was just like, geez. So one day, I think I was around 20, 23, 24. My brothers had left. Of course, I'm the last man standing. And there was no guidance from them. And my dad, of course, he wasn't around that much. He was a cop, but he wasn't around much, even in his spare time. He had too many other things going on. And so I asked my mom one day, I said, why? And she said, why would? I said, why do you say that all the time? She said, because it's true. I said, is it true? Or is it that your reality is that you make it this way? You're choosing these guys. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, you kind of knew my dad, what kind of man my dad was, right? You chose him. Chose to stay with him till y'all got a divorce. And what ends up happening is the kid that looks like the dude that you love the most or did you wrong or whatever, he has to suffer. He or she has to suffer behind it. That's not fair. All because you made a bad choice. She looks around. She said, what are you trying to say? I said, well, if all men ain't shit, but I didn't say that word to her directly or indirectly. I said, what does that make women who choose these kind of men? And she got offended. I was like, Mom, don't take it that way. I didn't mean anything like that, but I'm just giving you a dose of reality. I said, when you sit around saying this all the time to your children, to the males or the females, guess what? You make the women hate the men, and you make the men hate who they are. Especially when it's not, the men aren't those men that you're speaking about. These are your sons and your daughters. And you're not even giving your daughters the tools to recognize what a good guy is versus a bad guy, because all you dealt with is bad men. I said, see, me and my dudes, we used to sit around and talk about this all the time, about our moms and decisions that they made, because we went through a lot of it. And we just talk about it. We were frustrated. We didn't know what to think. I know I was determined never to be the kind of guy that she's talking about. I wanted to be better. But man, I tell you, never did I hear, I think she would say it, she said it in space, if you know what I mean. Like she just threw it up in the air about what she didn't want from her sons, and it was very, very few times she said anything. It was basically no older women and no ready-made family. That's basically what she said. But she never told me or my brothers how treacherous women could be. And I told her, I said, every dude that I knew in high school had tried to be good to a particular female, every single one of them. I'm just going to throw some names out there. Daryl, Kevin, Teddy, Al, myself. These are the guys that I hung with. Every one of them tried to be good to particular females. And man, once they got done wrong once, and that particular female did it, it was over. See, it don't take men but a few times to get their head busted by a female before they say, okay, I'm done. Once, maybe twice. But I know the one I went through, it hurt so bad, man, I didn't think I would ever recover. It hurt so bad, that emotional connection you make with the wrong kind of female, and then because you don't realize what you're dealing with, because you never got that lesson. I said, you never prepared me for that. And the look on her face was like, I ain't supposed to prepare you for that. That's the look she gave me. It's like that sisterhood code is so strong that they want to they don't care as long as the women aren't hurt. And I said, see, y'all have a tendency to always blame men for these situations. But they get out here and make all these babies. I said, yeah, but you're choosing to make babies. I said, so now think about it. Name 5 women in your age group or younger, from 30 to 40. I said, name 5 of them that you know personally that don't have kids out of wedlock. And I'll give you 5 guys in that same age group that don't have kids out of wedlock. And she couldn't name any. I named a few females. There's only like 2, and it was different. One don't like men. One was a lesbian. She don't like men. And the other one, she was like anemic, and she couldn't have kids. But other than that, I named off 5 dudes, myself included, that didn't have any kids out of wedlock, and still don't. I said, y'all make these choices, y'all make these decisions to be with these kind of guys, and everybody has to pay for it. I said, why? Why don't you take some accountability for it? These are your choices. Stop blaming men. I said, because you're traumatizing your sons. I said, because, and I know you don't care, because her anger for my dad was immense. I mean, like, still to this day, she got like a love-hate relationship with him. Like, it's crazy. And it's just, I'm looking going, huh? So I try to make sense out of it. What I don't want is young people to think that it's your fault. I want young women to understand, make better choices. If you see, I've seen a lot of women go to factory jobs and just jobs in general, and they know one particular dude is knocking off every female in the place. And you know what knocking off means. And they will choose to get knocked off and become part of that list. It's just the craziest thing. I remember T.I. did an interview with Tiny talking about the exact same thing. I remember Toni Braxton saying the exact same thing. And it really bothered me with Toni because I looked at Toni as an upstanding sister. I thought Toni Braxton was a bad girl. And it really just threw me, about one of the interviews that she did about the guys that were in videos with her get down with them. And then she said something else about wishing she had been out there in the streets more. Man, that's scary to hear. When I've been out there in the streets more with guys, random dudes. So I don't know. And it's scary. Because if you're a guy trying to, have something in common with these women, you gotta mind your P's and Q's. I don't care how good that woman look, you better think about what you're dealing with. Listen to her talking points. Listen to her talk. Look and study her body language and how she treats herself. All tatted up and nose piercing and earrings. I don't know. That ain't for me. And that's usually a telltale sign, man. Instagram to death. Right? I mean, but back to my mom. She, of course, didn't have any answers. So I remember a little bit after that conversation, my sisters were going in on dudes. And she actually stepped up and said, y'all got to own this and take accountability for the things that you deal with. If you deal with the wrong kind of men, you're going to get the wrong kind of results. She said, just, you should know that. And I was shocked. I didn't even know what to think after that. I guess the conversation worked for that moment because, again, about a year or two later, she's back on the same men ain't shit trope. And I was thinking, damn. And the sad thing about it is that every female, to my knowledge, that's around her, that's been around her, right? They single, including my niece. Like, that cycle ain't being broken. Now, my mom has been married twice and she's still currently married. But the thing is, the women that are around her, the majority of them are single. And I don't want to see it. I think they're going to die alone. I don't want that. And you try to talk to them and they just kind of look at you and go, It's like, yo, I'm trying to give you the game, but they don't want to hear it. So my thing is, I'm trying to make sure that young females know better, so young females don't get caught up in that same mess. Because it's not worth it, man. It's not a good place to be out here by yourself because you're making bad choices and bad decisions and listening to bitter women who make the wrong choices and the wrong decisions. I don't know, man. I'll say something every now and then about these things and make a video every now and then, but it's heartbreaking, man, to watch and see people that you talk to, and the generation coming up behind us is supposed to have been stopped. It's supposed to have been stopped with my generation. But apparently it's not. But it's my job to reach back and teach and give back to the youth coming up. It's all about the youth. It's not about us right now. It's about the youth. You can make a difference. You can make a change. But hold some accountability, women, when it comes to this stuff. Make better choices. Most of the guys you got kids with, all you got to do is check how many kids you got in his background. And for some reason, man, they still gravitate towards that guy. And after that, everybody else gets the blame for it. This has been L.A. Kendrick. Logical Loquations, giving that game. Craziest thing I've ever seen. One last thing. I remember one dude named Lil Rue. Military cat. Ran through the whole squad of females that were friends. They were all friends. He ran through the whole squad. I just shook my head. And they all knew. They all knew. That's the danger you play out here. How many of them are married now? I don't know. But man, you keep miles on your body, it matters to a man. And it should. Young ladies, remember, don't rack up a high body count. Keep yourself pleasant and presentable. Make sure when you walk into the room, your energy makes the room light, enjoyable, and people love having you around. This has been L.A. Kendrick. This one's for the youth and me asking my mother why. And she never gave a definitive answer, as they normally never do, because they never have to think about it. They never give it any thought. It's just a decision that they made. It's done. It's over with. Whatever. Now everybody's going to pay for it. Don't be that chick.